All right, here we have Jordan, and we're going to be doing a long beard, more of a trim and a shape up. As you can see, Jordan's got a longer beard right down the middle, and then more shaped a little bit on the sides, but still keeping it pretty full and squared. So looking at Jordan's beard, I'm looking at it from the front. Seeing what really sticks out, I could see a little bit of straggles that hover around. The beard actually does flare up in certain parts. I do like to comb the beard out before cutting to understand what is sticking out and what needs to be touched. So he did get a haircut, pretty recent, a little bit of a shape up. So this is just a couple days old, but there's still work that could be done. We see the straggle sticking out here, just touching it. So the first step is, I always explain, working on the beard, you want to be dead center so you can see the shape of it from the front. You know, the client will be seeing himself in the mirror and seeing the shape from the front. So what he sees, I see as well. So now from down the middle, it's going to be touching it up, pointing the clipper down, and just touching what needs to be touched over here where the straggles are sticking out. I then flip the clipper and I ask Jordan to look up for me. And now I see from this angle where you actually see all the straggles under the beard and have the clipper pointing this way and just hovering under now and getting all those little hairs. Now that I have that done, I see even lower what sticks out here. I go even lower over here and I just touch up the bottom. Now I got a good frame. So it's very square, it's very clean. So now Jordan can look down for me. And I'm going to work on the sides now. So with longer beards, you're more likely doing more of a trim and a touch-up more than anything. You know, guys with longer beards, they care a lot about their shape of the beard. So it's super important to keep that body in the shape without pushing it or, you know, going too much into the beard. You know, you got it. Also with longer beards, I don't like using guards too much, where some of the guards, I know some barbers put a number, you know, 3 or 4, 5. Yes, going with the grain sometimes help to smooth it down, but it could also be a disaster if you press too much and it could create a hole in the beard. So yes, you could use guards, but I wouldn't recommend that. I would usually freehand it, use my clipper or scissors to touch up the beard if you're dealing with longer beards. So I'm just going to hover over the sides now. Do the same thing I did, except I'm going with the beard shape, the contour of the face. I'm following it. Now I'm going to have his head up now, and I'm going to look under and do the same thing I did down the middle and just catch all those little hairs that are sticking out. To make a great beard cut or trim, as you say it, you want to look at the beard from every angle, and every angle should actually complement the contour of his face, and it should be more towards, like, you know, it has to look appealing. It can't look off on one side. So everything has to somewhat be symmetrical and flow. All right, so now I'm going in an angle and just touching all the little straggles. You don't want to cut too much, so I'm just hovering over and I'm barely putting any pressure. All right, you can look up for me and I double check bottom. Okay, that looks really clean. So let me compare my side on this side that I cut to the other side. So if you look here from this angle, it's a lot more cleaner and sharper. You don't see a lot of straggles. Whereas in this side, if I turn, you could see a lot of the straggles flaring out. And even in the bottom, if you look up a little bit to the side, all this little bulk we could clean up. But it's very bare minimum that you're cutting. So now I'll be starting from this side and connecting it down the middle. Okay. I'm going to turn him over to this side so I could see this side of his beard. I'll keep it at his natural position, and whatever's kind of floating over there, I'll just touch up. Once I'm done that, I'll ask him again to look up for me so I could see what's under, right? So you got to kind of go back and forth. You got to start from the top, the front view where you see, and then you got to ask the client to look up as well, because all that hair under, it's not visible when they're at their natural position facing straight, right? So don't be afraid to ask the client to look up so you really get all that little hairs under. So now I'll just hover over. I see a little bit of flyaways on this side. It's a little bit more full on this side, so I'm just going to take a little bit more so it evens out with the other side. So remember, going with the grain, following the natural flow of the beard is always the best way to cut it. If you're just working with longer beards, hovering over. Okay. So now that I see his beard, I'm looking at both sides. I'm looking from where I cut down the middle to the right. Do I see anything sticking out? Barely. Looks really clean to me. So once I'm done with the clipper, I actually like going back and using my scissors just to touch up some of the hairs that stick out. So I like to use the scissors and just kind of follow the beard shape along the sides, open, close, just to get all the little hairs that I missed with the clipper. So the clipper, difference between the clipper and the scissors is that the clipper creates more of a sharper edge with the hair. The scissors creates more of a softer, more natural look. So just going with the shape of the beard, whatever the flyaways, really straightforward. All right, he does like it keeping it full around this area here. So this looks fine to me. It is more about just working on the body, trimming and shaping it. All right, so here we have a longer beard, and just to recap what I just did, I started dead on from the center, keeping it very squared, using my clipper, shaping it up, and then working and floating with both sides. I did one side, then I did the other. And after the clipper work, I actually went with the scissors and I just freehanded everything, whatever was sticking out on both sides. And just really do like a minor cleanup when you're working with longer beards. It should be as simple as that.